All right, welcome everybody to this Channel Vision Magazine webinar with Crexendo alongside Frost and Sullivan. In this presentation, we're going to explore the future of cloud communications by taking a deep dive with Crexendo into the evolving landscape of cloud communications. I'm your moderator, Brady Hicks, the managing editor of Channel Vision Magazine, and joining us is your host for today, Crexendo's Chief Revenue Officer, John Brinton. How's it going today, John?
Doing great, Brady. Glad to be here.
We're excited to have you on. I can't wait to check out everything that you guys have to say. We also have with us Frost and Sullivan's Vice President and Senior Fellow, Connected Work Research, Elka Popova. What's going
Hi,
on?
everybody.
How you doing?
Glad to be here.
Very excited once again. Before I turn it over to you guys, I want to let everyone know that Crexendo is offering four $25 Amazon gift cards to 4 lucky attendees that stay through the entire presentation. So you are going to want to stick around. I also want to remind you that Crexendo helped build this webinar to provide you with information. So if you have any questions along the way, you can simply go to the Q&A icon at the bottom of the page. We'll present those questions once the presentation is finished. Okay, enough about all this. Let's turn it over to John Brinton.
Yeah, thanks, Brady. Let me just one more minute to reshare my screen and get started. So appreciate everybody joining us today for this webinar. As Brady indicated, we're thrilled to have Elka with us, and I'll give you more of an introduction to her in a second. We are offering 4 Amazon gift cards for 4 attendees who stay through the entire session. We'll deliver them by email after the fact, and appreciate our partners, Channel Vision, working with us in delivering the webinar today. So excited to have you all here and join us for this content. Now, from my perspective, I'm really excited to get to Elka's content because she is one of the preeminent analysts in the industry of business communications. And as a senior fellow at Frost and Sullivan, has been leading research in our vertical and related industries for a very long period of time. Her team does some exciting research every year that they update. There's always new findings that are of interest, and it just shows how rapidly things change in the landscape of business communications. Before we get to Elka's content, just real quick, in case you don't know Crexendo, because we are the sponsor of today's webinar, I wanted to just tell you a little bit about us as a company and why this is something that we're so passionate about. We've been in business for over 20 years, but a little under 3 years ago, we actually merged Crexendo with a company called NetSapiens that many people are familiar with, the NetSapiens platform. And we actually have built and deliver a UCaaS, CCaaS, and through our programmable APIs, a CPaaS platform that over 225 service providers globally use to power their cloud communications offers that they deliver to businesses. We have over 4 million users around the world. We're adding about 100,000 new users every month. One of the things I'm especially honored to have received as a company is this year Frost & Sullivan also awarded us a Best Practices Award in the category of Cloud Communications Service Provider Platform Technology Company. So that's the space that we're in. We won over 24 industry awards and actually are ranked #1 by our customers and customer satisfaction on G2.com. So that's a little bit about us and the service provider offerings that we power. But I want to get to the meat of our content today, which is the great research that Elka and her team have put together at Frost and Sullivan. I'll allow her to share that with you. So I'm going to turn the floor over to Elka. So thank you.
Hi, everybody. I'm joined today by my dog buddy, who may make this presentation more dynamic by walking in and out of the room, but I hope he's not too disruptive. I have prepared a lot of content. Most of it is based on several surveys that we have conducted in late 23, but mostly in the first months of 24. And I will be sharing it in several different sections based on topics. There's a lot more content where this came from, so I would be okay if you reach out after the webinar, and if you have any specific questions or need insights into topics that we didn't cover today, I can share those with you. Since we're here talking about business communications, I want to start by sharing some data on what factors, objectives, and pain points are driving communications investments today, and how businesses select their providers when they adopt new technologies and solutions. So as we relaunch here the slides, I'll keep talking. On this slide, you see the data from the question about investment drivers. More specifically, and I hope you can see my cursor, I arranged the chart based on the factors that customers consider crucial. That's the darkest blue. In the middle is what they consider very important, and the lightest blue is important. Bottom line is all of the factors that we listed resonate with customers well enough. So there's kind of little variation. But if we were to look at what they consider most crucial, driving growth tops the list. So what does that mean? That means that in many industries, customers are facing challenges. You know, the macro economy has been tough. There have been supply chain issues. Fuel prices are going up. There are all kinds of challenges that customers are experiencing today. So as they look to invest in communications and collaboration solutions, the conversations we, service providers, technology vendors, need to be having with them is how technologies can help them grow. And to grow, they need to be more competitive, more productive, and so on. If you look at kind of the combined, important, very important, and crucial, boosting team collaboration is one of the longest bars, along with improving information management. I mean, think about the hybrid workplaces of today. It's become more challenging to keep teams working together efficiently, delivering the quality outcomes that we desire them to deliver, customers desire them to deliver. So here's where communications and collaboration solutions come into play. They can help address this concern, as well as help improve, information sharing and storing and search and so on. Now let's look at how customers select the solutions and providers that they're looking to adopt. So if you think about the previous chart, that was about why am I even looking to adopt, let's say, a cloud PBX? Why am I looking to adopt video meetings? Now here it's about, of all the cloud PBX solutions or video meeting solutions or business SMS solutions, how do I pick the one that best fits my goals and my criteria? And I can tell you that this is only what customers consider must-have capabilities. That's why the numbers look like less than 50%. If you add the percentage that would like to have these capabilities, obviously it's about 3/4 of all these surveyed companies. The other important thing I want to tell you is consistently over the years, security and reliability top that list. So you may want to dazzle customers with the bells and whistles of your solutions, AI-powered features, advanced mobility, or something else that's really new and fancy. Well, it's the nuts and bolts that make or break the deal. They need to know that it's working and it's secure. Every year we add something different to that list. And this year we added this criterion, greatest deployment flexibility. And interestingly enough, it climbed to the top 3 along with a few other factors. But as some further, some other data sets further in this deck will show you. Although customers are adopting cloud communications very rapidly, many of them still want to keep some of their capabilities on the premises. So having that flexibility to deploy solutions on-prem or in the cloud is particularly important to them. Okay, I think that's enough highlights on this slide. We need to have time for more, so I'll pass it over to John.
Great. Thanks, Elka. That's a lot of great insights. And so what Elka just covered was kind of what the capabilities are that end customers look at most importantly. And I did use, interesting some of the things that are up there that are kind of, seem like table stakes to us, where a lot of the headlines in our vertical, we focus on the new and exciting features and things that are added, and there's lots of innovation going on at Crexendo and other companies. But really, it's a lot of the core reliability metrics are more important. So what I wanted to do here is just take a minute and talk about how Crexendo's NetSapiens platform, for those over 200 service providers and many more each year, kind of becomes the intel inside of their communications offerings, because we do deliver on those capabilities that Elka covered in the 2 slides before this and things that we'll talk about after. If you are a service provider or an MSP that's interested in deploying your own UCaaS or CCaaS solutions, we also have flexible commercial models, so where partners can choose to deploy in a perpetual license model, where they own the licenses, or a subscription-based commercial model, like many applications today. With our platform, we actually give our partners an opportunity to either they can self-host it themselves in their infrastructure. Many of them run many sites globally for their own infrastructure, so it's a natural thing for them to host it. But we also have an opportunity for us to host it in our global infrastructure and with our cloud partner, Oracle Cloud Infrastructure, so that partners can deploy around the world with the NetSapiens platform. We use a sessions, not seats licensing model. So within the financial model that you might deploy, we've independently verified that we have some of the largest margins. We do have the largest margins, we believe, for our service providers who are building their offer on the NetSapiens platform. And most importantly, like you saw the selection criteria before, we believe we enable our partners to deliver great employee and customer experiences with UCaaS, CCaaS, and API-driven CPaaS solutions. So our technology satisfies or scratches the itch, I should say, of what a lot of those customers are looking for. And we have a great community of partners that take it and deploy it within the context of their business, their organization, their go-to-market, in order to use it to power their offers and totally brand it for themselves. So that's a little bit more about us. Now I'm going to let Elka talk about more of her findings with the enterprise telephony and UCC deployment trends.
Right. Thank you, John. So here's the thing. I'm the lead analyst for UCaaS and hosted IP telephony. So anything and everything that happens in the world of enterprise telephony and UC more broadly speaking is of great interest to me. And for years, I have been, advocating for the move to cloud communications and cloud PBX. And the market is moving in that direction, as I mentioned earlier. But I want to show you on the next chart where we are today and where customers expect to be in 2027. Okay, so if you look on the left side, this is what our customers, and sorry, I didn't mention actually who we surveyed. We surveyed about 1,200 IT and telecom decision makers globally, and they span the spectrum of C-level, VP, director, manager, as well as they vary from line of business managers to IT, varying IT roles. So anyway, and in terms of companies, that includes everybody from SMB to large enterprise. So if we look on the left side, what these IT decision makers tell us is that very few of the organizations they represent currently operate entirely premises-based environments or even predominantly premises-based. I'm a little bit puzzled by the 1% there. To be honest, this is a little bit too drastic. I think we have quite a bit of premises-based infrastructure still sitting out there, but it still is aligned with where I see the market today. There are quite a few at the bottom there that are running predominantly cloud-based or entirely cloud-based environments. But what is really interesting is that everybody from the 6% of predominantly premises-based through the two hybrid options with almost equal proportions of cloud and prem in the middle, to predominantly cloud-based, the 21%. That's all hybrid. So hybrid comes with its complexities, with its unique requirements for harmonizing calling plans and extension dialing and user experiences across all these different communication solutions. There are consequences and implications related to how you integrate with other third-party communication solutions and third-party platforms in general. Now, if we look at 27, there is minimal change in entirely prem and predominantly prem-based solutions. Also, not a very dramatic change in predominantly cloud and entirely cloud-based. We're still looking at a very, very, very hybrid environment in customer organizations, even in 27. Now, if we move to the next slide, we're going to see how this looks across customer sizes. Somewhat surprising, the smaller businesses up to 100 users, which were among the early adopters of cloud communications, appear to be very similar to their larger counterparts. Again, lots of hybrid, quite a bit of cloud, minimal premises-based solutions. You can explore this at your leisure eventually, but I think the takeaway is clear. Cloud environments will be common across business sizes. So let's look at the segmentation by regions. Similarly, North America, LATAM, Europe, APAC. What you see is that bulge in the middle of the curves. It's primarily hybrid with some interesting variations. I mean, Latin American organizations seem to be a little bit more aggressive in their aspirational thinking about 27. They appear to be moving to the cloud a little bit faster than the others. I know from my research that's not exactly aligned with the realities we're seeing there. Actually, North America is pretty ahead of everybody else. APAC appears to be a little bit more aspirational in terms of having more integrated hybrid solutions. That's the 53% versus the others, which are a little bit more spread across the different categories. But again, very, very similar scenarios across the regions. On the next slide, you will see that organizations across the board are adopting various communications and collaboration solutions beyond cloud PBX and telephony in general. You know that during the pandemic, many organizations adopted video conferencing and team spaces. And by 27, pretty much all organizations out there will have these technologies in their environments. You need to be cautious because this is what you see kind of towards the bottom with cloud PBX. But the previous charts already showed that not all the users within customer organizations will be enabled with these functionalities by 27. So several takeaways. Customers are adopting a lot of digital technologies, including some of these next generation collaboration solutions. That creates complexity, creates challenges for companies to align the life cycles of these solutions, to harmonize, integrations across these solutions, choose the right vendors, decide whether they want best of breed or or single vendor end-to-end solutions. But this creates opportunities for service providers to cross-sell and upsell. If you have your footprint within many organizations with cloud telephony, this means you can upsell them with video or team spaces or call recording, mobile and desktop calling apps, or perhaps some cloud contact center. This is something that many organizations are looking to adopt as they move to cloud communications, and I'll show you some data specifically about this um, on a slide later on. I think that's all on this slide for now.
Elke, the one thing I just have a comment on this one before we move on, and it's just interesting because you got a dozen factors here that 90% of the customers that you surveyed, excuse me, there goes the light in the room, 90% of the customers that you surveyed said were important to them, and that they, were looking for those in their adoption. Yes, that they will adopt them. Yeah. And some of them are driven by that shutdown in the analog networks that we're seeing in many places, like where you have service providers basically declassifying or delisting services and stopping to offer them. And some of them are things like fax, that technology that we just can't get to die. Finally, being something that people are taking the forklift and move to their cloud solution. So it's just interesting that when you look at all these, we think about video collaboration and remote work and people that are in different areas, working closely together. But reality is, this is basically everything you do from a business communications perspective, that 90% of the people that you survey said, we're adopting that, we're moving it, to the cloud.
I think this points to the need for kind of consultative engagement with customers. You kind of have to dig sometimes really deep to uncover some of these opportunities. What happens with these POTS lines that you were talking about, the analog lines, the elevators, the alarms within customer organizations, sometimes they don't know what they have. So if you're a service provider that has these capabilities in your portfolio, it's important to bring it up in conversations and kind of inventory these existing solutions together with the customer to uncover opportunities, because sometimes they're not fully conscious of
Right.
what's there and what needs upgrading.
Yeah, no, excellent. So thank you. One of the themes that you touch on is just that video collaboration and conferencing. And that's one thing I just wanted to talk about with the NetSapiens platform is we do deliver a meeting and webinar capability within our platform that allows people to collaborate from any location on any device through the method of their choice. And, whether that's a mobile application or on their PC we aren't using that today. It's kind of funny because it's not funny, but it's the reality of the world we live in, is that before a meeting today, I actually started from a cold boot on my computer because I always do that before a webinar. And we're still having some technical difficulties with the screen share working. But a lot of us go work through, whether it's the NetSapiens platform or other tools, we join meetings on 3, 4, or 5 different meeting platforms in any given day. And, this is one of the areas that I hope all of us vendors work out over time, just a higher degree of reliability and interoperability between platforms. So one of the things that we've also focused on besides our own meeting client is the really powerful integration into Microsoft Teams. We aren't covering Teams in today's webinar, but it's a platform that many people use for meetings. And so being able to enable the meeting capability within a Teams environment as well. So we see as a company, those things you had at the top of your list as being those critical requirements that customers just have to have. And because we work in a distributed work environment today, and that's kind of the world we live in. So anyways, just to fill in a gap a little bit on how the NetSapiens platform helps to meet those trends that you were talking to. So why don't you talk to us a little bit about converged platforms, taking it kind of to the next level, and maybe for our audience, what you guys see as the delineation between unified communications and contact center, and a little bit of the purpose for each of those.
Right. So with the move to IP and open standards and other kind of technology developments, we're seeing, sorry, let's stay on that slide for a second. We're seeing more and more vendors shift into into the development of converged platforms. So what do we mean by that? We mean platforms that support a variety of different communications and collaboration solutions, and also include contact center capabilities as well as flexible APIs. We talk a lot about CPaaS, but CPaaS is really kind of the transactional model that we associate with Twilio and with Nexmo and some other very specialized CPaaS providers. When we talk about the platform approach today, we're really talking about the APIs and the ability of cloud platforms to not only adapt to new developments within the industry by kind of allowing the vendor to build more capabilities on the platform, but also integrate with a variety of third-party solutions. So one of the most common integrations, whether natively on the platform or with third-party solutions, is the integration of unified communications or UCaaS in a cloud version, and contact center or CCaaS in its cloud version. So let's move to the next slide to show the data on how decision makers, specifically in contact center, this is from a contact center survey, how decision makers in contact center see the importance of integrated UCaaS and CCaaS. As you can see here, 24% think of it as extremely important, and more than half think of it as very important. So that's pretty much, 3/4. That's pretty much everybody out there that thinks it's important. Why is this relevant to this conversation? If you're a service provider, again, this is an opportunity to upsell and cross-sell customers, to have a conversation, not just about elevating the kind of enterprise worker communications and collaboration capabilities, but enabling the contact center agents to work more productively, and even more importantly, integrate these kind of historically siloed worker demographics into a more cohesive whole, and align everybody along the customer journey to support a better, more frictionless customer journey. So let's move to the next slide to see where customers see the specific benefits of integrated UCaaS and CCaaS. Well, at the top of the list, and I think we asked them here to select the top 3, so they kind of had to pick which are the top 3 of everything that we listed. Call routing across enterprise users and agents tops the list, because you want to make sure that agents can transfer calls to enterprise users to leverage their expertise, and vice versa, and you want to make sure that the organization is tied together. But there is a focus also on the user experience. So if you have an integrated user interface, specifically, let's say, a contact center agent interface, where they can manage their internal and external communications from the same client, that makes them more productive and gives them the opportunity to collaborate internally and better address customer issues. Now, composability next on this list is when you can actually combine in a modular fashion features typically provided to enterprise users with features typically provided to agents, to enable some kind of unique personas within the organization that need this special blend of capabilities. And this could be the internal help desk people, these could be the sales people who need to collaborate internally and externally and on a variety of different levels. So there are multiple factors that are driving customer interest in integrated UCaaS and CCaaS. I'm not going to lie to you. This is not happening overnight. I don't want you to be discouraged when you approach customer organizations and they're not immediately jumping on the bandwagon. You're probably very familiar with some of the barriers to this kind of adoption of integrated solutions, especially in larger organizations. There's siloed decision making still. There are various solutions, in contact center and enterprise that are at different stages of their life cycle. So to align the upgrades across these different solutions, you kind of need to be patient and work consultatively with the customer organizations to achieve the results. Now let's talk about the APIs. Once again, they seem like a great enabler for many organizations to customize features and to integrate with the third-party solutions. Where do customers see the top benefits? The largest percentage of our respondents believe that APIs will allow them to enhance office worker productivity. Further below, 28% also believe that they can address frontline worker needs. So the spread is not that big. The important thing is that customers are looking to achieve a lot of different objectives. And second to, from the top is the ability to automate workflows. I think this is the key. This is where you can see a lot of operational efficiencies within the organization.
Great. Thanks, Elka. And on that last slide, sometimes when we talk about enterprise workers and contact workers, sometimes I get customers that look at me and go, what do you mean? So you think about somebody calling in, and just to make sure you agree with this statement, somebody calling into a company for support or whatever, an agent that is talking to that customer, supporting them. A lot of organizations are focused on first call resolution, solving the customer's problem as quickly as possible, but they realize the expert that they need to have help that customer is maybe somebody in the purchasing department or in the payables department or in the accounting department. So they're not people that are agents within that contact center. They're just other users in the company. And that's just the ability to easily hand off that customer interaction to that appropriate stakeholder so they can resolve the problem, right?
Yes, this is the ultimate objective here.
Yeah, and as you look at it, it starts from, when we talk about ways, of course, now my screen sharing's not working again, so I'll stop and restart it. You look at the ways that, that our platform can help play into that trend. Let me just get here. Catch us back up. Is one of the areas that we're talking a little bit more about AI in the next section and use cases, but just within that contact center, it is taking customers and giving them everything from the ability to do self-service basically on a company's website, all the way through the different ways they may want to interact, like through email, through web chat, through SMS, whatever it is, but the ability then to talk to a human or escalate that if needed and hand that off to somebody else. And that's what we call that, omni-channel conversational AI contact center, and the ability to support that. So that's the kind of interactions we're talking about. And that's the kind of interactions that we can support with the NetSapiens platform. Elka talked a little bit in that second slide about the CPaaS capabilities, or basically communications platform as a service. Some of us used to call that composable communications, or other, there's been several terms for it, but it's just the ability to take parts of a solution through APIs and adapt that to specific customer use cases. I mean, when you think about, even calling the Uber driver in the app and having your caller ID and their number masked and shielded, or the ability to just perform a function that can turn into a broader interaction. And that's we have recently with the NetSapiens platform released our API 2.0 initiative, which is actually taking our APIs and making them much easier for our partners to work with, so that they can talk to specific customers. Because in this area, a lot of what companies end up adopting is what I would call something that's purpose built for them. They have a specific need or requirement, and they have a use case for their constituents, the people that they deal with, that they need to be able to accomplish. And so it's just giving them the APIs within a communications application in order to be able to deliver on that promise of a better customer experience for the people that they deal with within their organization. So it's just taking a lot of the tech talk down to how does that really help or benefit somebody. And it's really just giving them the small ways to interact with a company that can then escalate into a broader interaction or support experience for them.
John, we have a question about APIs. Do you think we want to address it before we move on to AI?
Sure, why not?
Were you able to determine if most customers who see the benefits of API integration would provide their developers, or do they need access to developers through the service provider as a professional service? I'll address it to the best of my abilities, and then you can jump in. I think it depends, and I know that sounds like a very kind of evasive answer, but I believe when we talk about APIs, first of all, I see it as an enabling capability for the vendor or service provider itself to customize. And sometimes that customization may lead to some productized, either vertical specific or persona specific capabilities. So in other words, the APIs are just the tool for kind of internal development within the service provider or vendor organization. When it comes to customers, I think the smaller organizations typically don't have the developer capabilities, so they would very much look for their partner to assist them in that, in customizing or otherwise using the APIs for whatever purposes. The trouble is they also don't have the budget for high ticket professional services. But when we look at these scenarios, that's where low code, no code development comes into play. I think with larger organizations, there's usually a significant pool of developers that can take over and do these kind of integrations internally, but may also work hand in hand with the provider. Do you have any kind of ratio of how it works out in your deployments, John?
Yeah, I would say from my experience, they do fall into those three buckets. So it's customers who have the capabilities to do it themselves, third-party developers that do it on behalf of customers, or like you said, the smaller ones that maybe have a vision of what they want to have done, but it's the service providers, professional services, or somebody else that builds that for them. And then what I've seen with a lot of our NetSapiens partners that have developed the expertise to kind of build those applications for customers, they'll do that, and then they'll make that same application repeatable across many customers, like you said, after verticals or use cases. There's quite a few that come to mind. We've got, one of the things that's really become an annoyance in the US is the registration for the 10DLC program for people that are using VoIP numbers to be able to send SMS, do that. Some of our partners have built simple applications and widgets that customers can go through to take care of that process for them. So it kind of falls into those areas. And I think it is true that it goes small to large. At the lower end of the smaller customers tend to be more wanting their partner to help them out, or the service provider they're getting the solution from. And then as you go into medium and large size, they're more likely to work with companies that do that, or have their own group of developers that take those APIs. That's why Elka, for us, part of our API 2.0 release was doing a much better job of adopting open standards for the way people work with our APIs, and doing a much better job of documentation of working with those APIs. So, understanding there's a developer community that maybe doesn't have their PhD in the NetSapiens platform, but they're really good at building applications. We want to give them the ability to just get their GED in our platform and be able to build things for customers that add value. So I think your assessment was very spot on.
And I know we have another question, but perhaps Jason here can answer it in writing, so we can move on. Apologies, we can get back to it if we get the chance. I just want to make sure we cover all our content. So
Yep.
I know everybody's talking about AI these days, so we can't possibly have a presentation without AI, right? And there is a lot happening with AI. Obviously, there's a lot of development on the kind of AI engine, the LLMs and MLPs, and so on, the underlying technologies. But also the communications and collaboration providers are leveraging AI, whether it's some customized variation that they have internally, or they're creating hooks to the big engines out there, but they're using AI to enhance communications and collaboration solutions. So let's move to the next slide and see where customers see the benefits of AI today. And I no, John is having trouble
I'll
with
be there in
the
1 second.
slides. I will keep talking in the meantime, just to make sure we don't get bored. Okay, even I am looking for it. So when we asked our decision makers where they see the benefits of AI-powered communications capabilities in particular, the vast majority told us that they see it in improving the quality of work. And when you look at the list that I will show you in just a few seconds, actually many of the other factors that we listed contribute to that same objective, improving the quality of work. Second on the list is improving knowledge management, and then customer analytics, and so on. So multiple factors kind of resonate with customers when we talk about benefits. It really is important to have a conversation with the organization and the buyers about what they're looking to accomplish. Now, it all starts with their KPIs. AI is such a vast space, AI-powered features and solutions. You really need to start with the customer's KPIs. What are they looking to improve? Is it desk worker capabilities? Is it frontliner capabilities? Are they looking to automate a specific workflows? Like they're told they have priorities, and that's how you can decide what kind of AI conversation to have with them. Trust me, many of them are at the very early stages of building their AI strategies and figuring out who they want to partner with. So it's a good time to start these conversations and then move on. I still don't see the deck.
Oh, Elka, it's the deck is showing now. It's on the AI benefits slide.
For some reason now it's dark for me, but I'm okay with that because I have the deck on my desk.
Are you ready to go on past the AI benefits, or are we still
yes,
stay there?
I'm going to move on to the next slide, which talks about the importance of AI-powered features, more specifically communications capabilities. Can we confirm with the audience that they can see the slides? Perhaps, Jason, can you jump in to let us know if you can see the slides as well?
Yes, no, the slides are working.
Okay, so for some reason now I am having issues, maybe processing power or something else. Okay, so on the next slide, we have the importance of AI-powered communications capabilities. And I listed just a few different categories here when we were developing the questionnaire, based on what I see on the supply side. And we know that AI is currently being used for a lot of different types of analytics, communications infrastructure analytics, monitoring quality of calls and usage and whatnot. Customer analytics, everything from sentiment analysis to call length to completion of customer issue resolution, to workforce analytics, how productive are workers, to chatbots, to virtual agent assistants, providing prompts to the agent about where to find information, how to address a certain customer concern, to the co-pilots that we keep hearing about today that can create everything for me except do my laundry or dust the shelves, which I would rather outsource and create my own PowerPoint. Meeting summaries, meeting highlights. These are capabilities that are available today. If you're looking at the slide, you can see that the vast majority resonate with customers. Only the 4 or 5% on the left side are the ones that consider these unimportant. The vast majority are, in the middle, important and very important. If you were to focus only on what they find crucial, the top infrastructure and customer analytics seem to be most important, but overall, all of these are resonating. Once again, at this early stage, when features are getting launched, literally, if not on a weekly, on a monthly basis, you want to be very kind of exploratory with your customers and find out what KPIs, what pain points they want to address with AI. Let's move to the next slide. And this is where we look at how customers select their partners. I need to point out that this slide came from a survey that focused on AI in general. This is not my UC survey. This is a survey that looked at AI in its broadest implementations. And, we're talking robotics here and all kinds of AI things happening in manufacturing and other spaces. Okay, so in this ranking, service providers are at the bottom. But when you think about it, that's still almost 40% of organizations that would turn to their telecom service providers to discuss AI strategies. So I was talking to someone who consults companies on a regular basis about AI, and I asked him, so how do you start the conversation? Do you go like, who are you today and who do you want to be when you grow up? And he said, no. You get kicked out of the conversation if you go that broad. But you definitely start with the business objectives. The broader objectives, not a discussion on technology and the nitty-gritty details of AI. So with this, I'll hand it over to John again.
That's great, Elke. Thank you. And I think the key is that AI topic is so huge. What we look at Crexendo with the NetSapiens platform is how can we leverage these technologies to help companies, make their communications experience easier. So I've got in that telecom provider bucket, I've got a couple of use cases that our partners can deliver to customers that kind of talk about that. So, one is kind of at the front end of every business's communications experience. And that's simple things like setting up auto attendants and menus, trees for people to go through when they're calling into an organization, and things as simple as holiday hours and whatever it is. So it's building that. It's one thing that for many customers, the thing I found that many of them hate the most is having to design those things, record them, or have them recorded and deployed. So we've recently introduced what we call the Voice AI Studio, which actually helps every customer when they're starting to deploy their solution, be able to put a web address into a portal, and that the AI tool goes out, looks at the customer's website associated with the web address, and it actually comes back and it suggests, I think it's 10 different choices for their initial greeting for their auto attendant that they can choose from. And I've done this many times, and it's amazing that some of them come back as, I think, better brand statements than a lot of marketing organizations would write for companies. And then the customers can choose the ones that they want. They can choose the voice that they want it set in, the language that they want it spoken in, male, female, different accents and everything, and really personalize, use the AI to collect the data, then really personalize it for their organization, and then drill down all the way through all those menus and trees and holiday hours and everything that they've got. That really, and this has, this supports over 50 languages. So this is like one example of a customer use case of something that is, one thing that people dread when they move to, changing solutions is I got to start over with all that stuff. Another example is more on that customer experience end of the equation, which is just the ability for the through web chat or SMS and AI bot to be able to handle interactions, 24/7. I mean, as a parent of 3 kids in their 20s, I can tell you that the last thing that they want to do is call into a company to speak to somebody for customer service. They want to start on the phone someplace, either in a web chat or a text experience. And so in the same way, a chat bot can be deployed. It looks at the web domain or the knowledge base that you have to deliver answers to customers. And it just is shocking how dynamically this is able to go out, compose answers, have them appear to be like natural language responses. And the nice thing is with this type of conversational intelligence, if somebody wants to escalate to an agent, they can. But many of the, I think more standard interactions are easily handled. And so for organizations, when you talked about some of the benefits in contact center, agent satisfaction from a company experience, having their employees satisfied, having them having meaningful interactions with customers, it takes a lot of the more mundane interactions and parses them off so they can focus more on the important interactions. And then a lot of other tools that are out there that assist with management quality tools like conversational summaries, transcription, sentiment analysis, that really takes a lot of work that had to be done before manually, and it gets the data to the right people so that they can act on it. So when we're talking about that, these are 2 areas, either just from the general all employees to just focused on that customer interaction, that our platform really helps organizations deliver, on the promise that we all believe in with AI. And it's pretty exciting because, every software release that we have, we're adding new capabilities that kind of continue to build out and enhance this either on to ourselves or through the partners that we choose to go to market with. So you know what? I think we have time left. So let's cover that mobility section. If you'll bear with me while we see if my slides work again or not for a few more slides.
We want to also get to the growth opportunity. So let's run through the mobility slides very quickly. Tell me if you're showing it right now.
Yes. Yep. I'm on mobility trends.
Okay. Mobility. We've been becoming more and more mobile, that's for sure, for the past 2 decades perhaps. And when it comes to communications, for again a very long time, the industry has been adding capabilities to communication solutions to enable greater access to company voice messaging meeting services on mobile devices or any connected device for that matter, regardless of the user's location. So we have seen increasing adoption of mobile business calling apps. That's happening primarily, of course, in the cloud communication space, where mobile calling apps have been integrated with the stack. They come with the standard or premium bundles, but they're more readily available than with most premises-based solutions. So if we look at our survey data, 39% of our respondents here tell us that they have adopted mobile apps, and pretty much everybody else plans to adopt them by the end of 26, so that's by 27. Well, we know that they're not going to purchase these, especially if they come at an incremental cost for all of their users. It will be for maybe field force, for some of the remote workers, or selected individuals within the organization. But it's an opportunity if you have the majority of your user base currently on standard kind of PBX licenses with no mobility attached. it's an opportunity to cross-sell and upsell. Here's another proof point on the next slide, John. Again, I'm running blind a little bit.
Yep.
But we asked customers how they saw the importance of soft phones in general. Like I said, you can use it on a desktop phone, desktop computer, or a tablet if it's a browser-based client. And 44% tell us that they must have this capability. With the move to hybrid work, I can't possibly imagine many organizations that don't want to have this capability for their remote workers. And then 37% would like to have it. So that's pretty much, again, more than 3/4 of the decision makers out there that see value in mobility.
Right. And one of the, I think, Elka, like on the one thing that we don't think about is that as people went home for COVID, or as they've just using their personal mobile device more to interact with customers and coworkers, they're using their personal number. And it gets harder to separate your work-life balance there. So one of the things with our platform, and we do support Android and iOS for mobile clients, or obviously web-based browsers, things like that, is that it allows them to have that business identity for their business conversations by using that business phone number that's been assigned to them that they have for conversations on their personal mobile device, because they're making them using the application or using an alternate SIM, an eSIM type of experience on the card as well. So I think that's one of the things is it kind of think of today to, the choice of many cases is going to be a mobile first offering. And then for a lot of desk-based workers, we talked about those contact center workers or whatever, their probably preference in the business day is going to be a browser-based experience, because you've got your tools on your screen. You can work with that, manage your calls and interactions that way. And those are two things that we readily support on our platform. Make it easy for people to have a seamless handoff from Wi-Fi to cellular, make it easy for them to be able to get their business messages on their phone, use their business phone number, and have that be their device of choice. Because there is, we think of workers in the office, but today when you look at office occupancy rates and also the number of field-based workers that are out there in so many industries, that's the vast majority probably first are using some type of, modern smartphone device as their primary choice. And I think that's why your numbers were so overwhelmingly stacked for customers saying, yes, if we haven't already deployed it, we intend to deploy it. And that's just the reality of the world that we're working in.
Correct. And I hope you can still hear me, because I can see now my video is gone.
We have you. You're doing good, because we're on to your key takeaways now. So you've given us a tremendous amount of information in an hour, and it's a lot to digest. So why don't you talk about what some of your big summary items are?
I hope our audience doesn't hold our technology challenges and issues here against us, because I don't necessarily manage my broadband or the laptop's processing power. But okay, I wanted to wrap up with a few growth opportunities specifically for a service provider community, or generally like a reseller, technology developer, supply side community here in 2024. So we talked about AI. A lot of AI innovation is taking place. It's important to identify the use cases that truly resonate with the customer organizations and see how the solutions you have within your portfolio kind of align with those and meet customer needs. Okay, hybrid work. Again, a topic that I'm sure we all feel like we've heard too much about. Unfortunately, after everybody shifted to remote work, now many are coming back into the office, and it has become many employers' preference, while many employees are still reluctant. Not everybody, but quite a few. So there's a little bit of a misalignment there. And to make hybrid work, organizations need at least two kind of different categories of solutions. On one hand, they need to make office experiences better for workers to come into the office. That could mean better video conferencing equipment, that could mean all kinds of digital media and so on, whatever makes the office experience better. But they also need to make remote workers' experiences equitable. So they also need to keep investing in cloud communications, in cloud video meetings, in the appropriate gear, business grade headsets, business grade phones, and so on. Okay, Business 3.0 is really about leveraging the integrated platforms with the APIs that we talked about to integrate communications more tightly into workflows to see more tangible outcomes. So this is where you come in as a trusted transformation partner, not just a point solution provider, and you talk to organizations about how communications can move them forward on their transformation journey. Okay, I think that there are many untapped vertical use cases, especially when you look at frontliners and their workflows. Over the years, the industry as a whole has focused primarily on knowledge workers. We all have a plethora of tools for desk-based workers today. When you look at the mobile frontline and field workers, you need a little bit more asynchronous communications, you need mobile friendly solutions, and in general, an understanding of their unique challenges. We just talked about mobile. Mobility is very, very important to many customer organizations. We're not really looking at a mobile-only world in the foreseeable future. It will be a journey for most customers, and you want to be there for them. We didn't talk much about Microsoft, but Microsoft is a power to reckon with, and Teams has become pervasive. So it's very important for anybody in business communications to integrate with Teams and provide value to team-centric organizations. And I'll just make a very brief comment. Environmental and sustainability considerations are less of a hype and more of a reality today, and many organizations pick their providers and technology partners based on their sustainability posture. So it's an important factor to keep in mind as you build your strategies and portfolios.
And Elka, we did. Sorry,
I want to thank the audience because we're out of time.
No, I want to circle back on one thing, because we did really cover Teams, because that could have been a session in itself. But we did have a great question from Jeff on whether, and Jason answered it online, but just for others that didn't see it, where did Teams fit into the categorization of premise, hybrid, and cloud? And I don't want to put words in your mouth, but is it fit in one bucket, or does Teams use and integration in the platform fit in multiple buckets from your perspective?
Oh, so I monitor the cloud communication space more closely, and that's where I see most of the integrations with Teams taking place. But I know, Avaya, Mitel, and others are integrating with Teams as well with the Power Apps. It's the, telecom operators and the even next-gen UC providers that are partnering with Microsoft more closely for direct routing and other cloud-connected calling variations, including Operator Connect and Teams Phone Mobile. So there are a lot of different ways to partner with Microsoft or to insert oneself into the Teams environment and capture some of the customer spend. I mean, I hate to sound, like this is all about the money, but also provide value to the customer with, either more compelling calling plans or, more reliable telephony services in general, or other capabilities that may not be available from Microsoft.
Yeah, it's a great answer. And we're going to open it up for more questions. If anybody has a question now, you can type it in online and we'll answer those. I think Brady will come back and pose a couple to us. But just one thing that we found in Teams are within our community, our solution integrates fully into Teams and a lot of people deploy it that way. So if that's the meeting client of choice, messaging client of choice, they can do that. What we find is it's a difficult one. Teams is a difficult one size fits all use case for all worker types. If people are the knowledge workers that tend to be sitting in front of their computer all day and using 5 other applications from Microsoft, whatever, maybe that experience works for them. But when you go across all the, Elka's point number 4 there, vertical use cases and frontliner workflows, there's a tremendous amount of people out there that don't live in front of a computer every day and using those applications. And I think it's important from a business communications perspective that the solutions that we bring to them help companies make the use case fit with the technology, so it's a more natural way for their employees to communicate.
All right, fantastic. What a thorough Thank you. What a thorough presentation, guys. Seriously. And Elka, it sure would be nice if AI could do my laundry, kind of like a washing machines, I guess. We do have a couple questions, but before we did, and you guys did a great job even answering the questions as they came in, so there isn't a lot. But John, would you be able to remind people how they can reach out to you guys for more information?
Yeah, absolutely. So our contact information will be on the final slide. You want to find out more about Crexendo and our NetSapiens platform. If you're a service provider or an MSP, you can go to our netsapiens.com website, and customers can look us up at crexendo.com. I'm very proud of our Frost and Sullivan Award, and for this year over it. If you realize the competitive cadre that we won that against, we're honored to have that best practices award from Elka and her team. And there's all of our contact information if you want to find out. Frost and Sullivan has tons of tremendous data and information, and not just data but insights. I hope you realize that Elka's taken that data. She shared a lot of really relevant insights today. So there's her information to reach out. Mine as well as Chief Revenue Officer at Crexendo, and the folks at Becca who sponsored, who provided the platform for today's event. So Brady as well. So have any final questions for us, Brady?
Yeah, I have a few here, John. So obviously there were a whole lot of trends that were kind of thrown at us there. How can you be sure that your service provider business strategy is the correct one? Like, how do you stay on top of the changing trends?
Well, one of the things that we do is we consult with folks like Elka at Frost and Sullivan and others that understand that from a macro view. We serve a global user base. Elka had some slides on Australia, New Zealand, or Asia Pacific earlier in the presentation. We've had tremendous growth in the ANZ markets over the last couple of years. So really understanding the trends and then talking to customers. When somebody, one thing I love about us being the intel inside of people's UCaaS offers is we have over 200 service providers, and if you look at how they deploy our solution, they make it fit their business model and their go-to-market and their customer base. So when people say, well, what's average size customer do you sell? We have some of our partners that focus on organizations that are 5,000 users, and that's kind of their market. We have others that focus on specific verticals like pest control and others, and many times smaller businesses within verticals. We want to be the ingredient brand that they can take and deliver and go to market. So we at Crexendo get a lot of feedback from our NetSapiens partner community and kind of what we're formulating and doing in the future, because it's helping them to be successful. And we've been independently benchmarked overall at growing at about double the rate of the market with our user base. So that's, we feel like that's the right mix for us in getting that type of feedback.
Okay, great. Similarly, any tips for how to future-proof a business as far as cloud communications goes?
I don't know, Elka, do you have any future-proof tips for us?
I mean, it's important to monitor the trends in the marketplace and what peers are doing. It really varies from organization to organization, but you kind of have to inventory your own uh, business, look at the different workflows, as I keep pointing out, and see which ones can be optimized. And then you look at the technologies that are available to perhaps improve these workflows.
Yep.
And one tip I have, I hear or I hear it anecdotally, but I also see it in my surveys. When customers um, look for different technologies and solutions, they do use many criteria to select those. They very rarely poll actual end users. I think in today's day and age, with so many technology savvy individuals in the workforce, of course, among the customers as well, like our customers, but I'm talking about the employee base. I think it's extremely important to just work with them to find out what tools they prefer and how they prefer to work.
Absolutely. Yeah, I couldn't agree with that more. And that's one thing, Brady, for us. Our goal is to be able, whatever tools they're using, to be able to integrate into those tools. So if you take a look at programs, CRMs, different applications, I think we integrate into close to 400 now. So whatever vertical somebody may be in, there's so many specialized use cases, we call them, that people have, that it's important that whatever the trends are, the solution that you're offering has the ability to kind of integrate into what's going on. Because the one thing that you realize is, while some of these things now, with the advances that we see with AI and whatever, to us almost seem like they're table stakes. Well, 3 years ago or 4 years ago, what would we have forecast these things being like? It's that the ability, that long-term forecasting ability, is still cloudy at the rate of adoption. I mean, some of Elka's data on hybrid work environments, and many of our service providers help their customers integrate into those premise and cloud-based systems, and put take the legacy investment that the company has and help them to migrate to the cloud over time. That we have quite a few partners that specialize in that, using our technology. You probably wouldn't be able, that's the size of those numbers is still great enough in these charts. It's just, it's hard to forecast with accuracy. But I agree with Elka. Talk to your customers, talk to your employees, and understand, what they use for tools, and what the trends are that are most important to them.
Well, sure. And integration is absolutely clutch. You're absolutely right about that. John, you mentioned stability in video conferencing earlier. Could you talk just real quick about the built-in video conferencing that your company offers, and kind of what sets it apart?
Well, I would say we have two flavors of it, and it would be ease of use, and then also on one end of it, in our commoditized video solution, it's ease of use, ease of ability to join, and then just ubiquity of ability to deploy it to all of your users. And at the high end, with one component of our video, there's full API capabilities that are there for that kind of the idea of those CPaaS type solutions for video collaboration and interaction that can be deployed as well. So for our partners, we actually give them a couple different options on a primary and secondary video tool that they can use. And so it gets to be the mass availability versus also something that can be highly customizable for those CPaaS enabled type interactions. In fact, I think we have a use case. We were a founding member of the CPaaS Acceleration Alliance, which is an industry group that quite a few people have joined, and has grown tremendously over the last year or two. And we're really excited about being able to take things like video use cases, enable them for CPaaS, so the end customers can define, what they want the experience to be. That becomes less about us creating a full experience in the UI and everything else for people, and it's more about giving them the pieces that they need to compose that experience. So that's one of the things, again, at the very more specialized end of the market that, we're excited about.
All right, fantastic. And that is going to do it for the webinar portion. I want to thank Crexendo Chief Revenue Officer John Brinton, as well as Frost & Sullivan's VP and Senior Fellow Connected Work Research, Elka Popova, for their time today. I also want to thank Jason Byrne from Crexendo, who's been working diligently to answer all of your questions online so that we weren't here for another 2 hours. But it's been amazing. It's been very thorough, and I appreciate it. A couple real quick reminders as well, guys. Don't forget that Amazon gift cards, 4 of them, will be awarded to 4 lucky participants who stayed through the duration. So we'll be reaching out to you as far as that goes. Also a reminder that if you missed any of this webinar, you can find it as well as other past Channel Vision presentations on demand by visiting our website at channelvisionmag.com. Finally, CVX Expo 24 returns November 12th through 14th. It's the 3rd year running at the Talking Stick Resort in Scottsdale, Arizona. Attendees and exhibitors include TSDs, MSPs, resellers, trusted advisors, consultants, wholesale communications, cloud solution, business IT, and security providers. All right. An all-inclusive ticket grants channel partners access to everything that the event has to offer. And for more information, cvxexpo.com. And again, that's going to do it from all of us at Channel Vision Magazine, our good friends at Crexendo, Frost & Sullivan. Everybody take care. Be good to one another.